What is it like to pull off a virtual conference after the excellence I personally observed last year? How do you do virtual?
Yeah, Tom, well, thanks for having me this morning. I got up early this morning, really looking forward to being here with you today. We've got 70 different sessions over 5 days, 60 hours of programming. It's almost our own little network. So we're learning by doing. We got great speakers, Jamie Dimon, Larry Fink toward the end of the week. So it's all about content, just like you, Tom. It's all about content.
I look at your resume out of Kentucky, your work with Secretary Snow, Secretary O'Neill, et cetera, and you've got the process and the machinery of fiscal stimulus in you. You've executed that before. Do you have an optimism that if or when we get fiscal stimulus, we can execute it better this time?
I certainly hope so. Look, this town, when it wants to, can execute well, but it requires leadership at the top where the message is we want to have flawless professional execution. This town attracts a lot of really smart, interesting people, and it populates with great people. We just need to be given the task to do it and do it well.
Right now, the IMF is holding their meetings in addition to everything else going on. Does the developed world care enough about the carnage going on in much of the emerging markets right now?
Oh, absolutely. I've spent the last 8 weeks on the phone with finance managers, central bankers from emerging markets, a lot of developing countries, especially sub-Saharan Africa. We are incredibly engaged with those countries. We're listening to them, and we want to help them.
All right, so we've heard about debt relief. Are we going to be hearing more and more about debt forgiveness on a magnitude never before seen?
I don't know about magnitude never before seen, but certainly countries have an opportunity and option to reach out to their creditors, official, bilateral, and private, to find a way forward. Currently, it's a liquidity crisis. It's not yet a solvency crisis, but we're working toward what a solvency adjustment may mean over the next couple of years. Absolutely.
Tim Adams, one of the themes we're seeing as we dive into big bank earnings season, and of course the Institute of International Finance folks, is about the representation and the voice of our larger financial institutions globally. Tim Adams is the export of our banking skills, and that the major banks in America can go over to Europe and can compete. They can go over to Asia and compete. Is our government holding them back, or can they constructively compete?
Well, to your point, Tom, we had great news out of JP Morgan, Citi, and BlackRock today. World-class institutions. They can compete. They are competing. They are getting access to markets around the world, including China, which is a huge opportunity for U.S. institutions. Look, we need to see more consolidation in the U.S. We'll see more consolidation across Europe. Scale is your friend, and namely just because the technology spend. But U.S. and European institutions are world-class. They can compete anywhere.
Tim, but this is important. We have liberties restricted in Hong Kong. What is the IIF approach to allowing Western capitalism to work in China if China restricts those opportunities specifically in Hong Kong?
You know, Tom, the Chinese government, we have 35 Chinese institutions. I have an office in Beijing, have been very forthcoming in attracting non-Chinese financial institutions. They want the technical expertise. They want the foreign capital. You know, I've been going to China for close to 30 years. There really is an open door for U.S. financial institutions. I think there's a very good relationship there.
Okay, the relationship is there, but how do we compromise with a new tone from Beijing?
Well, it's just going to require greater diplomacy, and whoever's in the White House starting the third week of January is going to have to hit the reset button and find ways to work with President Xi Jinping and look for ways where we do have a common theme, and that is climate change. It's about pandemics. It's about financial. It's about energy. There are a whole host of issues where we need to work together for a common collective outcome.
Tim, I've got to ask, we're in the heat of the election season, 21 days to the election. I believe the senator from Kentucky has a win in hand. I think that's what the polling out of Louisville tells me. Give us an update on Kentucky politics.
Yeah, don't ever vote against or bet against Mitch McConnell. He's an incredibly great politician. He's been doing this a long time. He's also a good majority leader in the Senate. And maybe he'll continue being a majority leader. We'll see. But never bet against Mitch McConnell. He'll win this race handedly.
Tim, if we do get and this is an if we do get a President Biden, you are associated with a Republican Party removed from President Trump. Does the Republican Party shift back to the decades of work you represented, or is it Trumpism forever?
Oh, that's a great question, Tom. I hope that we return to a vision that I certainly worked for Ronald Reagan and George Bush and others, really about building strong institutions, about rule of law, about engagement globally to solve common collective problems. I hope that's the case. If not, I'm willing to work with the Biden administration on a whole range of issues, including sustainable finance.